95% of the people who are in jail now are there because they have no self-control. They get upset, they wig out, and they do whatever the hell they want to do without thinking, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen?
Judgment's sprung, in and out, the verdict swung. Oouchie Car Watch, we've just begun. Oouchie Car Watch, we're on the scene. Truths unraveling, what does it mean?
So I'm Jose Borrego.
You got the red?
Yes. So, I understand that there's some issues with, in terms of child custody and all that. So what I'm willing to do is agree to no threatening or harassing, but keep the residency restriction because they don't live together. And I don't see a reason to allow him to be back at that residence.
He's currently going to hotels and motels so that he can abide by this protective order. It's been a financial strain on him. He's working, hours have been a little short, so it's just becoming increasingly difficult for him to continue to stay out of the residence, away from his child. So I'm asking that the resident.
My concern is the protection of the
Understood.
complaining witness,
Judge, and I will say, I understand that, but given his prior assaultive history, the fact that there's an OR that, allegedly involves another assault after this date, I can't agree to
I
residency
don't, what are
restriction.
you talking about?
He has 2 TDC trips for ag assaults.
Okay, you're saying there's an assault after this assault?
So I have a note that there was some sort of assault involving the same complainant from October. I'm working on getting the offense report to verify
You know
what
about
that
I'm
this?
not
is.
aware of that, Judge.
So I,
Come up, Mr. Borrego. Come up. I'm not going to allow a contact if there's a prior assault that you're alleging as well now.
Yes, sir.
95% of the people who are in jail now are there because they have no self-control. They get upset, they wig out, and they do whatever the hell they want to do without thinking, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen? The idea that we have these orders in place are so that nothing else happens. The last thing we want is more mayhem and bloodshed on our streets. I mean, every single day we have someone dying on our streets because of no self-control. They're alleging that there's a prior assault with the same complaining witness. I get it. I know that you say no. I get everybody. What do you think? If I had one strand of hair for every person that said that, I'd have a beautiful head of hair. But I'm here to protect every person in this county at all costs. And they're saying you have this assault now. They're alleging so I don't want any contact. I will let you talk to your lawyer. You guys can hash this out. So hold on. I don't want you to talk here. You guys go out there, take your time. There's no rush. We have a lot of time to work things out. But if I have you charged with assault and they're saying that there's a prior one, it's just not going to happen. I get it. You guys talk, but I don't want you to have contact with this person. Don't. If I find that there's a protective order in place, you have to understand that an assault, you pick up a VPO, a violation of protective order, it's one of the worst cases. We can have a hearing to hold you at no bond when you violate condition on these types of cases. You guys go talk, see what you can do about explaining, but all right, please.
So Judge, as of right now, the state wants to do, we're doing no contact. We're gonna leave the protective order as is. Okay,
I mean, it's,
okay. Thank you, Judge.
all right.
Okay.
Morning, sir. Sir, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Shh. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 5th, 2025, the officer responded to a suspicious person with a weapon on 5900 Gulf Freeway. The officer made contact with the defendant, who was 17 years old. The defendant advised he was inside Jack in a Box while brothers were selling waters outside. The defendant saw a male rushing at his brothers with a knife, pulled out his gun, and pointed it at the male while telling his brothers to run. The officer performed a search on the defendant, locating a 9mm Glock 19, and the defendant advised he bought the gun from a friend for $150.
I mean,
Yes, Judge. In this case, the officer was going off the fact that he performed the search because he indicated there was a firearm. So
he's going to the defense of others.
yes, Judge.
It's another person.
And it's just the way
Yeah.
this is pled is because he's underage, he's below the age of 21. That's the way it's pled, Your Honor.
You hear this?
Hold on, I'm gonna go yell at somebody, hold on. Hi, Judge, is this young man charged with unlawful carrying of possession for being under 21?
Correct.
Hold on, I've got a kit. Here's the GPS
But I'm
memo.
more concerned about the defense of others. Did you hear it? I mean,
No, hold on.
hold on a second.
Here's
Wait a minute.
GPS.
Let me give you a lawyer, Mr.
Yeah. Oh, I volunteer. I volunteer representation. Yeah,
Give me a record, can you fill that out? please?
I will do that. But here's a GPS memo saying that it's
Hold on a second.
unconstitutional.
You know, representative gentleman?
Oh, hell yes. Here's the Fifth Circuit saying that it's unconstitutional. Here is the United States District Court, Northern District, saying it's unconstitutional. Here's a motion to quash information. I'll just cross out the name.
Great job.
Yeah, I had to get in this fight yesterday and I'm teed up.
Here you go, Mr. Tito.
Thank you.
Judge,
I was
is there
gonna,
PC?
yeah, look, you gotta be very careful, you know, God forbid something happens where you really dig yourself a hole. I'm gonna find no probable cause, but really, you have to be very careful. You know, sometimes you make a decision in life and it can really have consequences, all right? You know what that means, right? Are you in school? It all starts with school, man. You got to get back into school. This is not a good way to go through life. At 7, the more schooling you have, the more money you're going to make. Knowledge is power, my friend. Do it. Make something. Make me proud. Please. You got it. It's going to get dismissed.
Good morning, Judge. We are here on, over here, Black from yesterday
And her
and Hernandez. Hernandez, you had given a bond to him for $25,000. The family has not been able to post it for whatever reasons, but he needs to sign the waiver.
Okay.
And then Mr. Black, you rolled from yesterday to see what he was actually wanted
Yes.
for.
Someone Black.
So we're talking about Black now?
Yes, Charles Black. So it was a Kansas failure to appear. It was for driving while suspended and speeding maximum speed. They're not going to do a detainer, but it's Kansas only.
I know that. I mean, I get it. What do you think?
So he has indicated to me that he is in cancer treatments at the not MD Anderson Memorial Hermann, and that he has a family. I asked him because there was an issue about his license, but his mother is willing to drive him back to the state of Georgia to handle these. If you could just admonish him, if the court is inclined to set him a bond, that
I
he's
am.
back
I am.
in 14 days.
I'm okay to send him a bond. I'm not, I mean, it's not egregious and they're theft cases, so
Your Honor, I do want to say Dave is still opposed to a bond, and if you granted
I
a bond,
understand,
anything.
but they're not gonna,
He'd be opposed to anything less than 5 figures. He did want to make a point that he was still charged with intent to deliver twice less than 10 years ago, which was a first degree 5 to life charge. One of which was a deferred that was revoked for a new
that's 10 years ago.
PCS charge. Let me check the date.
Oh, well, it looks like in 21, he had a PCS with intent. Guys, Deputy Miranda, do you mind bringing up Mr. Charles Black, please?
This is, oh, February 22nd. Did they say that on the policy?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job. Good
Yeah.
job.
I don't think the same is what I do. I think the judge is going to do.
I think that 5 figures is a little excessive. For sure. Consider that they're theft cases, the other one's a suspended license case, and they're not going to extradite them on the suspended license, right? Because that costs like every time they extradite someone, it's like $3,500 to $5,000.
I didn't know it was that much.
You know that some jurisdictions also make them pay for the extradition cost. Yeah. So,
Dollars they get on
No.
the bus.
no,
And they-
it's thousands of dollars to extradite someone, and they tack them, they make them pay. Good morning, Melissa Black. How's jail? The thing is that this is going to continue to happen until you resolve those cases out of state. You have an open case in Tennessee, right?
Georgia.
I know Georgia, but you also got one in Tennessee, in that
Kansas.
Kansas. Both of those cases will haunt you until the day you die unless you go back and handle those cases. However, it may be all of just hiring a lawyer and reaching out to the courts in Kansas because it's a suspended license case. But it's always going to trail you until you go take care of it. Your lawyer's asking me to set you a bond, and I'm going to, but I have to make it sufficiently high that you realize that we mean business, that you have to go back to Georgia to take care of that case. Do you understand? You also need to understand that I don't play games. If I set you a bond, I'm only going to give you one. I'm not going to do this again. So if you bond out and you fail to go back to Georgia, I will issue a nationwide warrant for your arrest. I'm going to set the bond at 0. And if you don't go back, I set it at 0. I'm going to get you back. And this time I will hold you until Georgia comes and gets you. Do you understand? You have one chance to make this right. So what's the bond amount?
That's for $500.
Judge Fleischer, we're asking for a high bond or no bond, 5 figures. That's what Day is requesting.
What kind of bond can you make?
Actually going through cancer treatment right now, so that's the reason I would need to get out, so I can continue my treatment.
I don't know that. How do I know that? How do I know you're not just saying that? Regardless, you have to go back to Georgia. So
I didn't know I had this over my head, so.
what kind of bond can you make?
I'm gonna be able to pay.
I'm good at 1,000. If you want 1,000, I'll give it to you. But I'm not going to play this game, Mr. Blacker. So this is an extremely low bond. If you don't go back, it's really not going to end up well for you, especially if you have if you're undergoing treatment for cancer, because understand that if you don't go back and take care of that business and I have to issue a warrant for your arrest and we get you back, you're probably going to be sitting months in there waiting for Georgia to come get you. You understand? Okay. I'm set about $1,000.
Thank you, Judge. And did you tell?
Yeah, you have 2 weeks from the date of your release to go turn yourself into Georgia. Don't go on a plane because they're going to arrest you. You got to find another way to get up to Georgia, and you have to go turn yourself in. Do you understand? If you don't do that within the 2 weeks, I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
Council, for reset.
Okay, Mr. Black, good luck.
Right now.
There's nothing for you out there. Let me express my extreme disappointment that you've now picked up a 4th case. Cannot tell you how disappointed I am. With us in October, terroristic threat. 2 weeks later, another terroristic threat. 2 months later, a reckless driving. And now you've picked up a felony evading in a motor vehicle. Can you tell me what happened in the latest case, please?
The evading, Your Honor?
Please.
Yes, Judge. So in the evading, it was on February 2025, and the officers observed a vehicle driving recklessly on Mason Road and initiated a traffic stop. The vehicle proceeded to drive at a faster rate of speed and changed lanes when unsafe through moderate traffic, endangering other drivers. The vehicle evaded for approximately half a mile and ultimately entered a parking lot and parked the vehicle behind the restaurant on Mason Road. And at that point, the black male wearing a bright orange shirt exited the vehicle to the driver's door and ran through a large tree bush and evaded on foot. And it looks like he continued to evade, and he was approached as he ran on foot, moving across all lanes of traffic, ultimately coming to a stop due to him slipping and falling. So after evading for half a mile, he just ran on foot, Your Honor.
Judge, I know that that's not our case down here. My assumption, this is a broad assumption, is that perhaps given Mr. Jenkins's recent run-ins with the law, maybe those cops are familiar with him in that area. I don't know, it didn't articulate how he drove recklessly for the initial stop, but I think Mr. Jenkins maybe has some, I think he expressed to me that he thinks he's being treated unfairly.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was doing this out of his own safety.
You now have a fourth open case. You know, sometimes we have to protect people from themselves because they are their own worst enemy. I think that you're a danger to the public. You refuse to comply with bond conditions. You have a reckless driving with us. You were ordered not to drive recklessly, and now you've picked up an evading in a motor vehicle. I don't know what to tell you, but Mr. Jenkins, I'm now going to revoke the bond on all the cases, and I'm going to set them high because you are a danger to my public. And I've told you over and over and over and over, if you endanger my public, there's only one thing I'm going to do. So now I'm going to set each of your bonds at 10,004. I am now taking away your privilege to drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive, Mr. Jenkins. And I'm going to tell you that if I find, because I don't know if you're going to bond out, you know, your now bonds are going to set up at about $40,000. So if you do bond out, you're going to be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive. If I find that you drive, and I'm also going to put a weapon on here, if I find that you're in possession of a weapon, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm also going to order you to have a curfew of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
I'm still living at my home.
We have resources here. We have all kinds of things to give to people: cell phones, tablets, places to live, food to eat. All you have to do is ask, and we can give you things. But now you've repeatedly shown me that you just, you're going to do whatever you want to do, to hell with any conditions that a judge puts on you. That's what you have effectively told me by picking up a fourth case and a felony case at that. So what you tell me now goes in one ear, goes out the other ear. I just can't.
No, I'm a roller for the moment.
The unfortunate part is that these felony cases take a very long time to resolve. And I guess we'll track it. It looks like the felony is set for March 20th. If you want the next day, I'm happy to do it.
Well, I
Whatever
have
you would
a
like to do.
conversation with the judge to see what's the chance of going, if I don't want to put them in custody. If there's some resolutions that we can work on. I think on one of them, we're against the brother. The other one, we're waiting on some surveillance that may have come in already.
Okay,
So,
well, take your time, whatever you want. But as it stands now, you're too dangerous for me, Mr. Jenkins. You scare me. So, all right, we'll have you come up short to us and we'll talk to you soon. Good morning, Mr. Corral Ortega. You were charged with 3 cases. You were charged with 1 count of assault of a family member. You're also charged with 2 different counts of harassment. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 40 days in jail with credit for the 40 days that you have done on the assault case. And they're going to dismiss your 2 other cases. This is how you understand the agreement.
Yes,
You need to understand that this is a very
Yeah.
serious matter that you're undertaking at this time. You're pleading guilty to this assault. It will go on your record. It will be there for the rest of your life. There is also what's called an affirmative finding of family violence. That means that if you ever pick up another case like this again, you will be charged with a 3rd-degree felony. You will be looking at a minimum of 2 years in prison, a maximum of 10 years in prison. And it doesn't have to be a knockdown punch to the face. All it needs to be is you grab someone's arm and squeeze just so that there's a little bit of pain. And you will be looking at up to 10 years in prison. You understand? Pain is not what you think. It's what the other person perceives. You can never own a gun or ammunition as a result of this plea bargain agreement as well. You pick up a gun, you're looking at a Class A misdemeanor in and of itself. You give up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record and it will be there for the rest of your life. You understand?
yes.
You still want to do this?
¿Todavía quieres esto?
No.
¿Quieres hacer esta declaración?
Pues hacerme culpable, sí.
I want to say I'm guilty, yes.
All right,
¿Está bien?
I will find you guilty,
Yeah, culpable.
Okay.
send you to the agreement.
No, pardon.
Your other 2 cases will be dismissed on motion of the state. Good luck to you, sir.
Ninguno.
Okay.
Watch, we're on the scene. Truths unravel, and what does it mean? In the halls where stories clash, Oouchie court watch quick as a flash.